My LinkedIn is not going live, guys, so let me erase LinkedIn out of here. Sorry about that, guys. We will go, let's see. Oh, we are live already. We've been live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Houston Millennials Hot Topic Tuesday podcast, where we're going to start streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, even though my LinkedIn link didn't work. Today's hot topic is education and COVID, and we have a millennial elected official today as a guest, along with a super teacher. So you do not want to miss this. My name is Ivan Sanchez, host of this Hot Topic podcast, where we're going to be talking money, social issues, business, health and fitness, civic engagement, even running for office, strategies, community issues, and around tax season, we're going to be talking taxes. If you have your own business or you're in 1099s or whatnot, we're going to be doing this with some amazing millennials, millennial millionaires, millennial elected officials, business leaders, coaches, inspirational speakers, to do this every single Tuesday in a podcast form or event style, meetings, and even sometimes video commenting. So please like, comment, and share. As we are here, the trustee is in the backstage. Start asking your questions, what you have related to COVID and education. But so more people can tune in and see the action and interact with us live, we'll be right back. All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome to the Houston Millennials Hot Topic Tuesday podcast. For those that do not know, Houston Millennials is a nationally awarded organization that promotes millennial advancements in the public and private sector. And we do this through 6 standing committees, including business, civic engagement, networking, communications, health and fitness, and community outreach. Again, my name is Ivan Sanchez, president of Houston Millennials. I am a commercial lender by day and host of this Hot Topic podcast, where we're going to be talking today about education and COVID. So let's bring up our special speaker, this young lady. I should stop saying that millennials are young. We're actually 25 to 36 years old or something along those lines now. So I shouldn't be saying young professionals, but our special speaker, HISD Trustee Elizabeth Santos. Are you there?
I'm here, Ivan. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I'm actually blushing because I haven't seen you in such a long time, and it's so exciting to actually connect with you. But first, let me say, if I may still say, congratulations on your win. For Trustee. I know this was back in 2017, so 3 years ago. But just know that your election inspired a lot of people, including myself, running for office as well, and a lot of other people. You are a millennial elected official, and I just want to let you know that we're so very proud of you.
Thank you so much, and I cannot take that credit. It was the community outpouring of student, parent, teacher support. It was an entire community looking for change. We had never had representation in the north side. There had never been a Latina that sat in the District 1 seat. There had never been somebody from the barrio to represent our communities. My single member district is 32,655 students. Over 60% of those students, 23,000 and change, live on the north side of Houston. Yet we had never ever had somebody to represent us, nobody that talks, walks, knows our community. I'm first generation Mexican American, proud daughter of Mexican immigrants. and we have a highly undocumented population here in the north side, along with a lot of hardworking first generation, just immigrants and first generation Mexican American, just Latinos that live in our community.
Yeah. And because we're broadcasting in Houston Millennials, also the first millennial to be elected into the position.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, I was 35, I believe, when I was elected. And so since then, I've grown in wisdom and age and a couple of gray hairs for a bit.
And we'll have you back on another show on how to run for office as a millennial, pros and cons and all that. I want to thank you so much for joining and tuning in for such an important topic. I myself, I don't have any kids, but I'm still seeing everywhere back to school, and is making me anxious. I cannot imagine every other parent, millennial parents. Again, we're not children anymore. A lot of our boomer generation friends up there think that we're still like 16 years old, but we're not. We're up in our 20s. But before we talk and have a conversation, I also want to bring this Navy veteran, a person that's been in education for 12 years. He's also a community leader. He's a dreamer. And most importantly, no, I'm just kidding. Not most importantly, but he's also Houston Millennials Community Outreach Chair, Mr. Ronald Castro. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right. My friend here, you are amazing. Let's see how to talk through this. How are you guys? How are you, Ronald?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
All right. And Elizabeth, you can hear us. So we're here. Some of the reasons why we came up with this is, like I said previously, to bring Ronald Castro up, is that I'm very worried about what's going on. I understand that the world is evolving as we speak, and everybody's going to the internet now, and we're learning virtually. But in politics, we're not here to talk left or right, but there's a tug of war to send the kids back or not. And I wanted to have a conversation with you both as a trustee, our leader, and then as a teacher. What are you guys doing? So let's get started. Elizabeth, tell us a little bit something about what is happening to this back to school. Are we having a back to school like we did in 2019, or what's different in 2020?
Well, there's so many things that are different. First of all, so I was with HISD as a student, then a volunteer, and then a 10-year veteran teacher. I graduated from Sam Houston, where I graduated from, and then taught at Jeff Davis, now Northside, where my mom graduated. And having that insight as a teacher that tested a star-tested subject, and this is pertinent information to our laying the foundation for the rest of our conversation tonight. So, Commissioner Morath is asking, or has demanded, that ISDs move forward with the standardized testing. Although right now things are way different. So we had Harvey. There were a lot of in 2017. And there were a lot of hardships, and we made a lot of, we banded together. We were Houston strong. I know Ivan, all three of us were out there mucking homes and just, we were hitting it hard, helping people, volunteering. So those efforts didn't go unnoticed, and they were absolutely helpful at the situation. But as you know, COVID-19 is a different beast, and it is not, it could have been controlled, but it wasn't because of decisions that were made at the top. But so that has now, it is impacting school districts, nationally, of course, but statewide. We're having a lot of double speak. I'm gonna just put it out there. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm known for being honest and for being a little too honest sometimes. So I'm just gonna put it out there.
Necessary trouble.
I do my best. So Governor Abbott is giving the illusion that the school board's decisions to open up districts or shut them. But what's happening is they're holding funding hostage, and Commissioner Mike Morath is basically saying, you have to do X, Y, and Z, or we're not going to give you money. So you won't be able to provide an education to your students. Fortunately, with HISD, we've made the biggest, best decision, I should say, is not to start school with face-to-face instruction. We are starting virtually and won't begin if, depending on the numbers, we won't begin face-to-face instruction until October 16th, which I commend the interim superintendent for that decision. That is absolutely has my 1,000 full support on that. But, as Ronald knows, and again, 10-year veteran teacher here, and I would still be teaching in HISD if the statutes allowed it, but they don't. Our expectations for schools are going to be absolutely different. I know my former colleagues, teachers everywhere have reached out. I've reached out nationally, statewide, to other elected officials and other teachers, and they're scared to death, Ivan and Ronald. I don't know what I can say. All I know is my personal experience. I have a 9-month-old son now, and elderly parents who are diabetic and overweight, and that scares me to death. And in the Latino community, we have multi-generational homes. We have tios and tias taking care of nieces and other people's kids, and my mom and my dad, like same thing. Like they have helped raise other children that they would potentially send to school, and then they would come back to a multi-generational home and potentially contract COVID-19. With the lack of healthcare, immigration status being up in the air, and a frightened Latino undocumented population, it's been really, really disheartening, disillusioning, and just overall sad in most situations here. But interim superintendent has decided to start school virtually, which it is the right thing to do.
Wow, so everybody's going virtual?
Not everybody, because from my understanding, New Caney ISD, Humboldt ISD. Well, in HISD, yes, we're starting our first day of school. Our first day of virtual school is September 8th, and our kids will go online.
That is so cool. I mean, okay, so there's a debate in which we're not gonna go much in the debate, but there's some millennials that are saying that a very good the only positive thing that came out of this is that we're accelerating in virtual technology. We're going in our like look what we're doing now, right? And I just can't see like how amazing the future is now. We're being forced to be evolved, to be evolving to the current times, and it's just scary. Change is scary, but I embrace it. And Ronald, how are you going in ready for this?
So as a teacher, in the spring, we got a taste, like a small taste of what this felt like. And districts were pushed to the limit in the spring. Like, what can you do in a short time around to make sure the kids aren't lost or lose track or get left behind? And so districts were pushed to the limit in the spring. We had a long time to think about it over the summer. And I think this 2.0 that a lot of districts are going to here in the fall, we are better prepared than what parents saw in the spring. Now, definitely you should give teachers some grace, give admin some grace, because there is nothing that we can draw from in the past to say that this is what worked. We don't know what's worked because in the spring, that was our first taste of this. You can't compare high schools to college. You can't compare high school to elementary schools. So definitely everybody's learning at the same time. Parents, teachers, community. So all of us should give ourselves and expect grace before we start complaining about things that are out of our control, like COVID. Nobody can control it. We're trying.
That's a very important point. So many things are happening. Yes, ma'am.
I did want to point out, Ivan, with the idea of virtual and technology, virtual learning and technology, everybody's excited. But as pedagogy is concerned, as far as pedagogy is concerned, especially in poor neighborhoods, it is completely inequitable. So we don't have hotspots, we don't have internet access, we don't have access to technology. So we have students that are absolutely missing the boat here. Number one. Number two, we are having, you don't just learn from a computer. And, we had this conversation last night, early childhood centers and grades, pre-K, kindergarten, when you're handing your child, Morris, when he gets to pre-K, and I hand him off to his teacher, I have to literally hand him off to somebody and saying, I'm trusting my son to you. And there are childhood centers and schools that have best practices that kind of wean parents off of this. So when you are closing down schools and saying no parent is allowed to come on campus, and I'm handing my pre-K student over to you, I mean, it is disheartening, because that's essentially, if we open up on October 16th, there will be measures that we have to take to ensure the safety of not just our students, but our educators on campus. And like tomorrow, my son has a doctor's appointment, and only one parent can go in with them. And so we're both like, okay, so who's that parent?
I know the great decider, paper, rock, scissors.
You know, I win every time. I
That's
don't.
way. That's still the old way, but a good way to decide.
Right. And yes, absolutely. And going back to Mr. Castro, Ronald's point, I mean, dude, I have never seen teachers work so hard in my life. So kudos to you, Ronald. That is, last semester was the most incredibly challenging semester any teacher could have, because I know, especially Ronald, because he's always out there with his kids.
That guy is a super volunteer. Amongst COVID, he's the community, Houston Millennials community outreach chairman, and he was still out there when a lot of our members were like, no, we can't do any events. He was out there in a full body suit and everything, feeding the homeless, even on his time off, and now he's getting prepared. Hey, so Ronald, what's up? How do you are you ready to teach online?
That's not my expertise. Tech, like, everybody has tech issues. Everybody, like today, from admin down to the teachers, we're all learning our environments, and some things are better than others, and there's always going to be tech issues. So that grace we were talking about earlier, like it goes a long way. We give ourselves grace, we give our admin grace, and we just have to be ready for that agility they were always talking about. Like Ms. Santos, she was talking about, having who has or doesn't have. Like, I was blessed to upgrade my internet because I just needed it. Like, I couldn't function, and some kids don't have access to that. And it's surprising to a lot of people who say, well, why don't they just get online? It shouldn't be that hard. Well, it is hard because, like, in my neighborhood, I don't have access to Comcast. I have to pick something else, and it has to work. And if it doesn't, I don't have anything else. I had students who would go to the parking lots of stores to have Wi-Fi. And I felt bad because we were holding them to high standards.
That's so sad, especially in low socioeconomic places. Like, let's say in the Southwest, over here in the zip code 77036, the hardest zip code that got hit by COVID. It's a very low socioeconomic location, or like, I don't know. This is going to be very scary, especially for parents. So let's talk some resources on both sides. What are some of the resources that parents can find helpful during this time to make them, to get them prepared for what's coming?
So first I want to tell, I didn't get to finish thanking you, Ronald, for all the work that you do, and I appreciate you like you would not believe. I know I'm not a big social media, except for my little funny jokes here and there, but I see what you do, and I appreciate you. Like, you like this is the guy right here.
And by the way, to all those millennials watching, look at that. She's an elected official, still sharing memes. So don't lose your cool. You can still be yourself and be running for office or making a lot of money or being inspirational or whatever it is. You can still be humble and in high places. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So let's...
yeah, so resources. So I know that HISD, one thing that we are doing is we're giving free breakfast and free lunch for our students, and that will be, every day, and it's curbside pickup.
Wow.
Additionally, we are creating basically, I don't want to call them hotspots, but food spots in some a high student population apartments. So our students that we're actually delivering breakfast and lunch to these students. We are continuing to partner with the Houston Food Bank to have a food distribution sites. Additionally, you can sign up for text messages on the HISD website. There are parent webinars to teach you how to use technology. There's a customer service number. I do not know it off the top of my head, but it is on HISD's website. I know we started
looking for it.
And so we also started, basically HIS is going to go forward with having lessons on TV, and that is to reach as many kids as possible, because you know you might not have access to the internet, but hopefully you have a TV at home. And so we're doing a couple of different things. I know, like Ronald was saying, I have parents that have 5 children and one phone, and I don't even think it's an iPhone. It's just whatever pay-as-you-go phone that you have, and they were sharing that. And I was a 10th grade English teacher, and I'm telling you, even now when I'm like about to speak in public and I'm like typing my little essay or my little speech on my notes, and that's just one speech off the top of my head. I can't imagine what it's like to write a research paper, a synthesis essay, argumentative paper, all these things. I can't. It's like to type that on a phone, and much like the research, and that's just a 10th grader or a high schooler. I know that pre-K through first grade are going to have iPads, then Chromebooks from second grade. But the one thing that I am
there's our taxes
a little concerned with is that the interim superintendent waited very long, waited kind of a long time. We asked her back in March, what are we going to need? What are we going to need? And she'd mentioned going forth with a bond to acquire this technology, and I just was not. We've been in the news. So HISD has been in the news, and I just want to make sure that we are honoring every taxpayer dollar, and that taxpayer dollar, we respect it, as much as we respect our students, because every taxpayer dollar that doesn't go to the classroom, it's a question mark over that taxpayer dollar, because that's one resource, $1 less that we're using to educate our children. And so there have been, great, I know Ronald always on my posts when I talk about the amendments to send more money to our most vulnerable populations, more money for teachers and to honor teachers and and people don't understand it. It's really not that complicated. It's really not. You honor our teachers. That means you honor our students, because the teachers are our front line. The teachers are there every day for our students. And Ronald, I can guarantee you knows who's hungry in his classroom, who has internet, who doesn't have internet, who has a mom and dad who's living with the Theo or grandma. I can tell you, I can guarantee you homeboy knows all of that. And so that's what you have when you have a teacher in front of your children. You want the best quality teacher, a teacher with experience, and a teacher with heart and integrity. And when you have teachers like that, Ivan, the educate, the digital divide, like they call it, it's we can't. I can't even tell you. I don't want to go into the technology discussion right now because
well, look at that. Your passion is pouring through the stream. She's not even running for office, and she's on fire right now.
Well, let me say something about like honoring taxpayer dollars. A lot of taxpayers are saying if teachers don't go back, we should get our money back because we're paying them. Let me say this to parents.
I heard that.
I want to say this to the parents.
I heard that.
We teachers miss your kids. Like, I don't have kids. Your kids are my kids. And we miss your kids in front of us because they give us life. This is why we do our career. And having your kids in front of me and teaching them every day brings me joy. I can name them off the top of my head, all the kids that I want to see in front of me and all the new faces I don't see. I want to be in front of them, but I want to make sure they're safe. And that's something like as a parent, you want me to take care of them. Fire drills, I got them. Intruders, I got them. With this health thing, I'm going to get them, but I can't guarantee that there's safety around each other. So I'm thankful for all the districts that have tried to play as safe as possible and keeping them at home where they've been for the last couple of months safe. But if they come to me and they get sick in front of me, I'm going to feel terrible. So no, to all the parents out there saying my kid needs to go to school so that they can be in front of you, I want them there, but I want them safe and I want them to go home safe.
Yeah.
And I've seen this for the last couple of weeks and teachers are being attacked because the parents feel like we just want more vacation time. I've been planning for this school year since June. And if I don't see your kids, my time has been wasted. Like I want to teach. That's what I'm here for.
That's amazing. That's a true heart of gold. And I know it's real. Again, ladies and gentlemen, he is a true public servant. He is teaching our kids every single day in, day out. But he doesn't do it for the paycheck. He does this because it's at the bottom of his heart. And now he's anxious you have some anxieties from this,
most
right?
teachers are anxious. We all want to come back. I don't know any teacher. Well, some teachers have unfortunately had to retire because of the health concerns. So we're picking life and career and paying the bills because of this.
So
But I want parents to definitely know that we want to teach.
Something over 45% of teachers can retire right now in the state of Texas, because their TRS, their numbers, they're able to retire. So if our teacher workforce were to quit, and a lot of them are, because this is number one. Don't guilt trip teachers and exploit them and say that, oh, they don't do this for the paycheck, because number one, it is a livelihood. They are professionals. They went to school to be teachers, and we shouldn't exploit that labor and guilt our teachers and saying, oh, you don't do this for the paycheck. Yes, because absolutely, Ivan, I took a huge pay cut coming from the private sector, going into the public sector to serve my community. And that was being a teacher for 10 years. And trust me, the benefits are not there. Second of all, like when administration, Ronald, you can attest to this, says, oh, work without being paid. Tell me what other profession where you have a professional that's going to work without getting paid. You're going to be without being compensated. Second of all, teachers should not guilt trip teachers and make them feel guilty for wanting to stay safe themselves. Again, I love our students. I've given the last $25 I have for former students that didn't have anything to eat, couldn't pay their rent. And, my husband, if he's not working, I'm not working. It's been, we've felt the effects of COVID-19. And so I can tell you this much. We have to continue to honor our teachers and pay them like the professionals that they are, because they are professionals. And people don't want to hear this. And it's like, but don't you want a quality person in front of your kid? Like these are our children. These are our children, and you want the best, most qualified person. And so I'm sorry, Ronald. I'm just going to tell it like it is, homeboy, because man, teachers should be paid more. Like this is, and then the fact that we had to do the fact that teachers had to go through what they went through back in the spring semester. And I know how much teachers were working because I was sitting there lesson planning with them. I still talk to my teacher friends and I'm like, okay, let's use this lesson. Let's use Daniel Beatty's poem because this and da-da-da. And I'm sitting there knowing that our teachers are working 12, 14, 16-hour days, taking phone calls and calling parents and calling children and dropping off groceries and helping pay rent. Like, okay, let's continue.
So I know that time is coming short because the Honorable Ronald Castro is an officer with another organization. But before we say bye to him, I'd like another 5-10 minutes with you, Trustee Santos, to answer like the question of Dr. Adolfo Lara. He's actually a senior member here at Houston Millennials. But before we let go of our teacher, someone that's in the front lines, Ronald, since you have the HISD boss lady in here, is there any special requests or anything that you would like the trustees to hear on behalf of teachers?
And it's not just the HISD, because we didn't.
In general, I'm sorry.
As a teacher and a friend of teachers and a friend of other teachers in other districts, I think across the board, teachers don't want to be left behind. And I know you as a trustee, Ms. Santos, you have us in mind because you were a teacher. If you take care of us, we will come back. And if we're alive, we'll come back. So definitely keep us as safe as possible, keep our kids as safe as possible, and we trust that to you. Thank y'all for having me, and I'm going to keep an eye on the post from my computer and my other meeting.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much, Ronald. By the way, Ronald made this happen. Community Outreach Chair for Houston Millennials. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ronald. Have a good night. Bye.
Take care. We'll see you later.
Trustee, I know your time is extremely valuable. We're not trying to take it. We're informing the community and the millennials. Let's answer 1 or 2 questions from the feed, from the general population of millennials. And then we'll go. And again, thank you so much. We have Dr. Adolfo Lara. I'm not sure if you can read this. He says, during non-COVID times, there may be shortages of school supplies such as pencils and pens. Do you foresee a similar problem with personal protective equipment for teachers? Damn, that's deep. Or will the virtual September month be used to get those materials ready to for face-to-face person school?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the question, Dr. Lara. And the answer is yes. You know, I know Ronald, again, 10 years teacher, 10 years. And so every year I would stock up on Clorox wipes, on Fabuloso, on hand sanitizer, Lysol, all those things. And I know that even now, I'm thinking, and hopefully Houston Millennials can help me with doing a PPE drive for our teachers, because we have 30,000 employees in HISD. We have 210,000. Okay, awesome. Thank you. 210,000 students, and how can I put this? It's a lot. It's a lot. And again, our most vulnerable schools don't always have the resources they need because the way that we are funded. You know, right now we have 4 schools that either didn't have a nurse, that are being required to, you know, spend 70,000 of their district budget to have a nurse on campus, and those $70,000 could have almost had 2 teachers and so forth. So I know that schools in poor neighborhoods are struggling right now, so they're going to have to be able to use their finances wisely. And not that they don't, they do, they already do. But the way that funding is if our students don't show up to class, to school, then they get the average daily attendance of it. So what that means is that if our kids don't come to school, we don't get paid for that day. So attendance affects schools in low socioeconomic neighborhoods, because again, we lack health care, we lack you know, single moms that are working 3 jobs that sometimes can't take their kids to school, or sometimes their kids are babies. It's just a whole bunch of issues that, you know, we have principals that incentivize coming to school even when you're sick, and that is the biggest and most serious thing right now during COVID-19, because you're using that for funding, attendance for funding, and if someone's sick and they show up to school, it could really cause damage.
Yeah, and please sign us up. Again, you're well connected to Ronald Castro, also a community outreach chair. Like I've said, I would love to do this when when Harvey hit. You know, we're out there. We connected about 25 tons of resources, and you know what we did? The power of social media, in which 4 years ago is still. I mean, you know, the informational era is upon us, but a lot of people. Like we said in the beginning of the show, change is scary, so they want to adapt. But we had 25 tons, so whatever we can do for our teachers to get to, like Ronald said, if they're safe and they can do it again, they'll come back and teach your kids, because this is very important. So, Trustee, I know you have to go. Let's do a little quick last question. Let's see. We have one for Mr. Tam Gwynn, friend of mine as well, and. For those that don't have access to the internet, what is the school district planning for those kids? I bet Tam wasn't watching the beginning of this show, wasn't he? But quickly we'll address that because it is a big thing for the community. Can you say a little bit about that?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Wynn, for that question. And for those of you that are tuning in a little, that's okay. We don't all get on social media at the same time. But we're either creating hotspots, or I think it's 40,000 hotspots that we're purchasing, and we just approved that last week. And also we're seeing about maybe putting in either, I don't want to say cell towers, but I'm sorry, not cell towers, internet in high population of apartments. So if we can, we will do that. But yes, internet, and also I will absolutely take in donations for Chromebooks, iPads, hotspots, anything that the Houston Millennials or anybody wants to donate to our kids. We had 143,000 responses to the student survey, and we're still 66,000 short. So I would really appreciate the help that we can get, specifically in neighborhoods where parents are afraid to speak up and speak out for their children.
Nice. Thank you for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to also the HISD website. There's a lot of information, a lot of helpful tools for the parents that are about to innovate their own teachings for their kids. But I see a lot of information here. We have the Honorable Trustee, HISD Trustee Elizabeth Santos. Thank you so very much for joining us. Do you have anything else, Trustee Santos, to close and give us a word of advice for the future parents, or anything you want to add?
So just right now, be kind to your neighbor, to your vecino, and if you're a parent, be patient. Our kids are in desperate need of a social emotional engagement, and a lot of their outlets, whether it's PE, band, dance, cheerleading, whatever it is, they don't have that right now. And so our kids are really hurting, and they might lash out in a way that you don't understand why they're lashing out. So just be patient with them. And this is not easy for our kids, and it's not easy for me as a parent with my husband in law school, and it's been really, really, really difficult and challenging. I have one child, and he's only 9 months old. 9 months old. So just be patient, and like Ronald said before, grace for teachers, grace for the administration, grace for educators. And if you ever need anything, I'm here to serve. I was tutoring last spring, single parents. Any single parents out there, if you do need a tutor and you can't afford one, I will just get in contact with me, and I'll see what I can do. And I myself will volunteer.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The Honorable HISD Trustee Elizabeth Santos, thank you so much for taking the time. You're a very inspirational person, not only to myself, but to countless of millennials. I hope that whenever we are back at 100%, you can come out and be a special speaker at any of our events, Millennials After Dark Professional Networking, or Bosses in Heels, and any of these events that will pop up. We'll love you to be there. Thank you again for your time. Anybody that wants to reach out to the trustee, let me know. Reach out to her. She's active on social media. I'm active on social media. We're millennials getting the things done, and we want to see everybody at the very top. How about that?
Bye, y'all. Have a good night. Take care, Evan. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Trustee. Thank you so very much. Guys, so this is our Houston Millennials Hot Topic Tuesday podcast. We are Houston Millennials. Please comment, like, and follow this podcast. We're going to do a lot more podcasts. We're going to be doing it about, again, important subjects as in finances, accounting, COVID, education. We're going to do a lot of different things. So if you have any ideas, you have any inspirational speakers that want to come on the show, please reach out to me. Again, please like, follow, and share. And I will see you all at the very top. This is Ivan Sanchez with Houston Millennials Hot Topic Tuesday podcast. Thank you all for watching.